passed the 2023 appropriation bill at 21.83 trillion naira, with an increase of 1.32 trillion naira from the 20.51 trillion naira budget proposal of President Muhammadu Buhari. A breakdown of the budget indicates an allocation of 967.5 billion naira for statutory transfers, 6.6 trillion naira for debt servicing, 8.3 trillion naira for recurrent expenditure, and 5.9 trillion naira for capital expenditure. Meanwhile, the Senate has passed the 2023 supplementary budget of 819.5 billion naira, saying the amendment of the 2022 Appropriation Act is to ensure the implementation of the key capital projects in the Act, which has not been funded as at this time. It added that it is expedient that the capital projects be extended to prevent the problem of abandoning projects in the budget. The supplementary budget is to address food security following devastating floods across the country, as well as damages to road infrastructure and the water sector. A breakdown of the supplementary budget in the report by the Committee of Finance shows that the Ministry of Agriculture is to get 69 billion naira. The Ministry of Water Resources will get 15.5 billion naira. Federal Capital Territory is to get 30 billion naira, while the Ministry of Works and Housing will get 704 billion naira. The House of Representatives has passed the 2023 appropriation bill at 21.8 trillion naira, with an increase of 1.32 trillion naira from the 20.51 billion naira proposal of President Muhammadu Buhari. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has written to the National Assembly to extend the date for the implementation of the 2022 budget from December 2022 to March 2023. The Senate President Ahmad Lawan and the Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila read a letter at the plenary. Reports say that the National Assembly had passed a revised budget of 17.31 trillion naira for the fiscal year 2022, following the President's earlier request to make adjustments to the 2022 budget, citing the impact of the Russian-Ukraine war on the country's economy. It was learned that President Muhammadu Buhari had recently written the National Assembly to approve a supplementary budget of 890 billion naira as a result of the impact of the flood on the roads across the country. The proposed 2022 appropriation supplementary budget submitted to the National Assembly for consideration, as well as recent 2022 capital releases to ministries, departments, and agencies, are likely to be utilized before December 31st, 2022, due to the late release of the funds, which will lapse if the capital implementation is not extended beyond December 2022. The federal government has hinted that it will soon make pronouncements on salary increase for civil and public servants to cushion high inflation in the country. Minister of Labor and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, gave the indication after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. He said the Presidential Committee on Salaries has already begun a review and is expected to come up with an adjustment in the new year. The commission is mandated by its establishing acts to fix salaries, wages, and emoluments in not only the public service. It was learned that the minister had recently suggested the government would adjust workers' salaries to meet up with economic realities in the country. The International Monetary Fund has welcomed the steady implementation of the tax automation system and recommended stepping up efforts to further expand coverage under a well-designed roadmap. In its report on Nigerian economy, the fund advised that in the medium term, authorities should develop a compliance improvement program and comprehensive customs modernization program, improve the effectiveness of the State Internal Revenue Services administration of the pay-as-you-earn system, and strengthening interagency coordination and data sharing. It advised the Nigerian government on tax policy reforms to consider adjusting tax rates to levels comparable to the average in economic community of West African states as compliance improves. The fund also advised authorities to remove fuel subsidies and address oil theft as a major step to narrow fiscal gap, which disproportionately benefits the well-off by mid-2023 as planned. IMF recommended increased censorship spending by up to 1.7 percentage points of gross domestic product during 2023-2027 in well-targeted programs in coordination with the World Bank and other development partners to mitigate food insecurity and cushion the impact of high inflation and fuel subsidy removal on the poor. Osun State project consultant for the Elisha Water Project, Mrs. Tawa Williams, has been suspended with immediate effect over questionable handling of $106 million loan for the project. The state governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, in a statement by his spokesperson, Malam Olawale Rashid, further ordered full-scale proof of the entire project and disbursed loans, especially as there is no progress on the project despite reported disbursement of 10 billion naira and another $28 million on the project. According to the statement, the governor equally suspends the project coordinator to allow for unhindered review of the loan administration, while the consultant was directed to return to government the 70 million naira bulletproof Jeep in a possession. Governor Adeleke's directive was sequel to the interim report of the State Assets Recovery Committee, chaired by Dr. B.T. Salami, which made recommendations for immediate action to stop further squandering of loans secured to execute the water project. The state chief executive frowned at large-scale corruption reflected in the handling of the loans and the project, an action he regretted as denied people of Elisha and environs of potable water. Meanwhile, the asset recovery team had submitted an interim report which revealed an ongoing large-scale pilfering of the procured loans, while the project recorded no progress commensurating with reported expenditure. According to the interim report of Salami-led committee, the Islamic Development Bank agreed to fund the project to the tune of $65 million, while the federal government provided $41.94 million. The present administration in Osun State is committed to ensuring improved and qualitative health delivery for the citizenry. Governor Ademola Adeleke said this at a briefing with the leadership of the Ministry of Health, Hospital Management Board, Primary Health Care Development Board, and the College of Health Sciences. Said Adeboje reports.
Of his administration to give a rebirth to the state health sector. The governor was represented at the briefing by his deputy, Prince Kola Adeusi, explained that the challenges of hospitals across the state were known and that the present administration will not take issues relating to health with kid gloves. He, however, called on those at ends of affairs of providing qualitative health care delivery to brace up as the state government will not condone any form of indolence.
Sector, how money goes to the clear. See, when we talk about fumigation, fine. There is no auditor in the world that can come and assess the level of fumigation level. Let's think about how to curb or reduce excesses in this, because you cannot eradicate it completely. Just told you some of the reason why it cannot be totally removed, at least we can still reduce it.
Presenting his papers before the committee members, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Dr. Kayode Afolabi, expressed his discomfort on how funds are hitherto being utilized in the health sector. According to him, money placed in an account are not adequately accounted for, therefore calling on the state government to take relative action that will foster accountability in the health sector. In their separate submissions, the Coordinating Director, Hospital Management Board, Dr. Abayomi Oni, the Acting Executive Secretary, Primary Health Development Board, and the Provost College of Health Sciences, Elisha, Dr. Prince Olaoye, highlighted some of the challenges facing their establishment, to include shortage of manpower, aging medical equipment, and infrastructural deficit. They are however pledged to work in tandem with the policies of the present administration to give the state health sector a facelift. From the office of the Deputy Governor, this is Said Adeboje reporting.
Meanwhile, Osun State Deputy Governor Prince Kola Adewusi has advised the authorities of Osun Emergency Ambulance Services to reduce the referral cases of patients outside Osun State. Prince Adewusi gave the advice while receiving the team of all ambulance services at a briefing. Again, Said Adeboje has more.
Services being rendered by Osun Emergency Ambulance as commendable. The Deputy Governor said that it is a job of life-saving. Prince Adewusi, who expressed concern that some stations built along roadsides were not put to use, expressed the need for individuals to always see government facilities as theirs. He expressed the readiness of the present administration to improve on the services rendered by all ambulance, calling on the authorities not to refer any case outside Osun State any longer, as Osun has the best of hospitals that could manage cases.
It is a new down. With the assurance of my boss, he has so many contacts over there in terms of facilities that are coming down. They are probably to support this administration in the state. With this, we can have a sign of relief in the state.
Responding to questions from members of the committee, the General Manager of Ambulance Services said that the station meant for the ambulances and the paramedics were constructed on wrong location, apart from the fact that they failed integrity test, just as the Deputy Governor did. While addressing the authorities of all ambulance services, he appreciated the Dr. Niyi Ogini-led Osun Health Insurance Scheme and Professor Peter Olaitan's led management of Uni-Osun Teaching Hospital. The Osun Health Insurance Scheme and management of Uni-Osun Teaching Hospital highlighted their various challenges, hoping that the new administration will take the necessary intervention as promised by the Deputy Governor. From the office of the Deputy Governor, this is Said Adeboje reporting.
Workers in Osun State resumed at their various duties after the public holiday declared by the federal government to celebrate Christmas and Boxing Day. Oluwatobiloba Odonoga reports that the turnout of workers was impressive, as those who spoke with Osbc News expressed their readiness to discharge their duties accordingly. This report.
Workers in Osun State and the country at large resumed work after the Christmas and Boxing Day holidays. Findings made by the Osbc News crew revealed that at the Osun State Government Secretariat, workers were seen at their duty posts carrying out their duties. Speaking with Osbc News in separate interviews, government officials, including Mrs. Bolanle Dokaskafi and Mrs. Oluwayemi Olatele, described the holidays as worthwhile, as it afforded them the opportunities to reunite and bond with their families. They appreciated the state government for the prompt payment of their salaries and making the festivities a remarkable one.
Our Excellency, we thank everybody and we thank God for making it possible for us to see the end of this year, and we are looking forward for better life in 2023.
It was long, but it was not really long because we are so happy that the governor deemed it fit to make sure that the salary was paid before the holidays. So we are so happy that he's the people's governor, and we are hoping to work with him with all loyalty and zeal.
Similarly, it was observed that commercial banks in Osogbo metropolis were open for business, with customers patronizing them for different transactions. While there was an increase in commercial activities as people were going about their daily activities, and businesses as usual. It will be recalled that the federal government had declared 26th and 27th of this month as public holidays to mark Christmas and Boxing Day celebration. Oluwa Tobiloba, Odunuga, OSBC News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the police to take the strongest possible action against the officials involved in the killing of Mrs. Omobolade Rahim, the lawyer who was allegedly shot dead by an assistant superintendent of police on Christmas Day in Lagos. Buhari, in a statement by a senior special assistant on media and publicity, Malam Garuba Shehu, also assured the family and colleagues of the deceased lawyer that justice will be served in the matter. The president described the killing of Mrs. Rahim as heinous and senseless, noting that it was a wake-up call to law enforcement agencies to ensure the implementation of all reforms introduced by the administration to better service delivery by agencies, especially on reports handling and citizens' rights. Bolani was shot in the chest at close range at Ajiwe, Aja, while her family was returning home from Christmas service. Our report of the week today focuses on police brutality and extrajudicial killings in Nigeria in lieu of the gruesome murder of the Lagos lawyer Omobolade Rahim by a police officer on Christmas Day. The question bothering the minds of many is, will justice be served? OSBC reporter Oluchi Amuda examines the controversy surrounding the death of the lawyer and its implication on the country. Our reports.
The primary roles of the police in any given nation include the prevention and detection of crime, apprehension of offenders, preservation of law and order, and of course, the protection of life and property. What then happens if the very agency who is saddled with such an enormous responsibility of protecting life and property ends up being a threat to law-abiding citizens of the country, as was the case of the Lagos lawyer Omobolade Rahim, who was murdered by a trigger-happy policeman on Christmas Day. The brutal murder of the 41-year-old Omobolade Rahim, who was 7 months pregnant by an assistant superintendent of police, has once again brought to the front burner issues of police brutality and extrajudicial killings, which culminated to the EndSARS protest of October 2020. The younger sister of the deceased, who narrated the incident to newsmen, said the story is too sad to be true.
Immediately we will just stop. We just hear gunshot. I don't know how. Where? The guy was not in our front at all. The guy was not in our front. My sister was sitting and the husband was driving. I was sitting at the back of my elder sister, Barrister Bolanle, and my children, 4 children were there, and with our own daughter. So immediately she just said, Benga, the gun have entered my chest. Immediately she just dropped. And the officer, I just ran outside. The husband ran. Husband was rolling on the expressway. And I just ran outside to just go and look for the officer. Officer, you have killed my sister. The officer cracked the gun. Cracked the gun on me. He said, I will kill you. I said, you want to kill me, officer? You killed my sister, you want to kill me. And he now wants to run, enter the patrol vehicle. I quickly grabbed him. That was when those one left him. And immediately, another Marua guy, what do you call him? Korope guy, just stopped. He wants to enter. Immediately I fly and entered with him so that I can identify him.
The gruesome murder of the lawyer has attracted outrage and wide condemnation from across the country and beyond, with the persistent call on the police to ensure that justice is served. Reacting to this development, an analyst, Mr. Michael Ebofi, who described the incident as unfortunate, noted that it has also revealed the need for the leadership of the police to carry out constant psychological evaluation on all officers of the force.
How many investigations are being carried out by police and some other security agencies because they are behind the beat, because they have the trigger at their tips, at their fingers? So we have to really be very, very careful this time around. Lives of people They are not goods. They are no animals that you can just slaughter anyhow and go free. They have to really step into it and handle it very well. And also, media will appeal. Please try and let the citizenry know what is happening and how the matter will end, while justice will be served.
The Osun State Police Public Relations Officer, Mrs. Yemisi Opalola, assured the public that it will not be business as usual, adding that the Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Khalibaba, is resolutely committed to ridding the force of bad eggs.
There is no police officer that does anything that is unprofessional that will go unpunished. You will see that it's in police only that you have been seeing a kind of dismissal, this and that, when they do one thing or the other. Even we are the one that's used to take to that more than other security agencies. And that is what we are going to do. We thank God that in our own state, recently we have not been experiencing such a kind of unprofessional behaviors. And we believe that it will not happen. Because what is going to be done to the person that have done this is going to serve as a deterrence to others. The way it's going to be treated is the way we treat anybody from outside that has killed. So that is the same way. After the investigation, you know, there must be an investigation procedure, you know, like any other person. Whatever we do to people outside, it's also the same way we are going to follow it up. So after the investigation, if he is, you know, found culpable, he's going to go for it.
She equally assured the people of Osun State that the new Commissioner of Police, Patrick Lunge, has put all security measures in place towards ensuring that the state maintains her position as one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria this youth season and beyond. Oluchi Amuda.
Now welcome to our sports segment. Liverpool have hijacked Manchester United's move for Cody Gakpo after officially agreeing a deal with PSV for the forward. PSV Eindhoven have permitted Cody Gakpo to travel to England to complete the deal. Omotayo Adibodo has the rest of the story.
The 32-year-old who joined Ajax Academy at the age of 8 played 333 times during 2 spells with the Dutch side. He has won 7 Eredivisie titles with the club and scored 13 goals. Blind, who has played all but 1 league game this season, moved from Ajax to Manchester United in 2014 and spent 4 years with the Premier League side before returning to the Amsterdam-based club. In the meantime, Novak Djokovic has been welcomed back into Australia almost a year after he was deported. A record of 22 is scheduled to play in Adelaide International beginning Sunday, with the Australian Open starting in Melbourne on the 16th of January. Omotayo Adebodun, Osbc News.
While on the foreign scene, the Republican elected to Congress in November is facing a growing clamor for his resignation after admitting that he made up large parts of his biography refusing to give up his seat. Judge Santos's victory is in a New York district helped his party secure a narrow majority in the House of Representatives, but investigations revealed doubts on key parts of his education and work history that he touted during the campaigns. Meanwhile, several members of the President Joe Biden's party have demanded that House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy only votes to expel Santos if he does not quit. And that ends the major report on OSBC TV. It was edited by Kayode Adebayo. I am Olubunmi Ajiboye Agbola saying good night.